What's good? Sixth element of hip hop. I'm your host, Reno Noir. This is your host, Stu Dog. About to turn his camera on in a second.
Peace.
What's
Just
good?
setting up
What's
shop,
good?
baby. That's all. Setting up shop. That's all.
We got time.
Making it look good for the hood. That's all.
So we got a big event today because, well, not today, but yeah, the DCU has begun. It's finally here. It's finally started. So we're about to really get into it and really get deep into this Creature Commandos. Cause damn, it's amazing. It was so great. I can't see Marvel doing anything this good animated. I've never seen them do anything this good animated. Which isn't saying much because Marvel never does shit animated good, but they really have never done anything like this. This is definitely this is even better than a lot of the DC animation, which says a lot because the DC animated movies and stuff are really good. But this is up there. And in terms of writing, in terms of acting, directing, story, you know, in terms of art and animation, that's to your own everybody's own opinion, but I was thoroughly impressed, and we're gonna chop it up. We're gonna talk about these bad boys here. Episode 1, the Collie Wobbles, and episode 2, the Tourmaline Necklace. Big spoilers, big spoiler recap today. We're gonna chop it all the way down to the white meat. Hunter Iggy, what it do? What it do? Chilling. You in there, Stu?
Yeah. I'm here, bro.
Check this out.
Trying to keep my power options. Leave my battery and all that. I'm excited for Creature Commandos, man.
It was great. Did you watch it yet? Oh, you haven't
Not
seen it
yet.
yet. Oh
I haven't
man.
had time. It's my son's birthday weekend, and I can't
Yeah.
get no peace in my house this weekend, man. I tried. Every time I sat down to do something, somebody was calling me or they want to go ahead. I don't want to be mean to my children on their birthdays, so I try to be a good dad.
That's good.
Yeah, nobody
You
let
got
me get
you
no
got
peace this weekend. Yeah, I tried to sit down and watch it, man. It just I got a little bit into it, and then they started calling my name. This, that,
Mhm.
the other. You know how? Well, you a dad,
Oh,
so
I
you
know
know
how it
how
is.
it is.
I know
Yeah,
exactly how
you
it
know
is.
how we can't get. Yeah, the only place we can get peace is in the bathroom, and I couldn't get no peace.
That's about it. But I
Yeah,
was
so
able to get over to the comic shop today and pick up a few goodies, as I try to do on every other Saturday. But here's the newest X-Men #6, X-Men #7, and this is a really cool cover. But this whole new run of X-Men from the Ashes, it's very I'll say very Gen Z, very millennial. Very millennial is a better way to describe it. But the art is incredible, and you know how much in high regard I hold the art with comics. I think it's as important as the writing, and they really hit the mark. Like the art in this series is really great. I haven't really got to read it thoroughly yet, though, so I don't know much about the story per se. Oh no, why did they fucking? Didn't mean to buy this one because I got the variant, but this is the #8 version, Raid on Grey Malkin. But the variant I got, which I'm excited to show y'all, is fucking dope. I couldn't believe it. I was so glad to see this because I'm a big
well,
fan of the games.
well, you can read the regular cover and leave your variant closed. That way you ain't gotta.
Exactly.
You ain't gotta put no pressure on it. Yeah,
Marvel
variant's
vs.
dope. Oh, that's the
Capcom.
X-Men. That's the X-Men fighter. Yeah, the Marvel vs.
Marvel vs.
Capcom. That's
Capcom.
hard.
That's
I
my
know.
shit.
Did you get the Wolverine one?
You mean this one? I meant
The
wait. Let me see.
Wolverine. The cover
Oh,
that you got right there, I seen the Wolverine when I was in the comic book store today. Yeah, yeah, that's the
I
one.
already
That's the
know.
hard one. I
You
like
already
that
know
one.
I had to grab that. That's the one right there. But this is that's Wolverine. So this was the X-Men one. Right here, X-Men number 8. And they got Cyclops on there. Yes, that's from the Marvel vs. Capcom. It's the Fighting Collection. They're doing the arcade classics variants, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to get any other ones at the shop I went to. There is another shop I could have got more at, but this is the Wolverine number 4, and then that's the variant, which is super, super, super dope. Really
That
love it.
variant is hard. That variant's super hard.
I mean, I love the MVC artwork, and I love how they did this one with just like really just nice pencil drawn. Really cool. And then this is the Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man number 10 and 11. Covers are just sort of, I don't know. I'm torn with I like the uniformity of the Ultimate covers, but I also am a sucker for like a full art cover, and I kind of don't get that here. I feel like I'm not getting the best amount of art with these covers, but they are really cool. Otherwise, this one is a back issue I picked up. I'll show you that in a second. Super good, Absolute Superman. This is number 2,
Two should be number two.
and
Yeah.
it is
And two
dude.
just came out this week. Yeah, two came out this week, and Wonder Woman Absolute number two came out this week as well,
Look at the
or
peacemakers.
last week. That's dope, bro.
Uh, all the
That's a
peacemakers.
that's a dope cover. I couldn't find that cover. I'm upset. I'm gonna have to order that one offline because my comic shop didn't have
No.
it.
Oh
Nah.
man. Yeah, that's the.
Yeah.
And then the new all-in number 1 Two-Face. One of my very, very, very favorite villains. Super duper gangster. Love that cover. Really, really cool. One of the cooler Two-Face covers I've ever seen. So super excited about that. Space Ghost number 7, going strong with the Space Ghost. I've been reading these. These are really cool. I'm a big fan of the
Oh,
Space Ghost design from when I was a kid in the 80s, man. I love Space Ghost.
that's good to see. You've been hitting Space Ghost kind of hard.
Hell yeah. Everyone. Now they have an amazing fucking variant deal. They have like so many variants of every cover. They do a lot of nice variants. Dynamite always does a nice, but I'm unfortunately kind of starved of variants right now. The shop I go to doesn't really get them. So, but I'm really happy with the A covers that Space Ghost does. I've looked at a lot of the variants and I really almost would choose the A cover a lot of the times. So that's cool. Ultimates number 7. Story going really strong. I'm loving it, loving it, loving the new Ultimate Universe. And last but not least, oh, I already showed you that one. So last but definitely not least, this back issue. Let me see if I can get this sticker off the front. Just saw it. Figured I'd snag it because it was dope. There we go.
Mm,
Wolverine and Sabretooth. Half and half.
that's hard.
Uh, dope. Super hard. There we go. That is sick. Had to grab it. And that's what I got from the shop today. All
I got
right.
everything you. I got everything you got, and I got Hulk number 800, but I got the variant cover with Hulk and Thing, and I also had to pick this up.
Show it or an ace. So
Man, I had to pick this up, man. It
I
came in the
believe you
back
got
of
that one.
yeah, 9.8. This is the number one, but it's a variant cover of Absolute Batman. I uh I got a number one of Superman signed by Scotty Young. I got the Scotty Young cover. Those covers are hard to find, and I've been looking for those.
I got
So I
all of them.
did get it. You
I
got
got
them?
all
Yeah,
of them.
yeah. I did get a Scotty Young cover of Superman. I don't have a Batman. I gotta get one. And
Yeah.
I got a Wonder Woman. I got a Wonder Woman and a Superman coming, and they're both signed by Scotty Young. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big
I'm
Scotty
trying to
Young.
get a Yeah, me too. I'm trying to get a 10 back. Trying to get a 10. Can't get one. They won't give it to me.
Hmm.
They won't give us no 10. So
A man said DC Studios produce better television shows than Marvel Studios. Agreed. Marvel Studios has better films than DC so far. That is true, but I think that's about to change. That's my prediction, and I'll stick to it. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Corey, salute.
I'm just Corey Adger salute. I'm just gonna say that there's something I like about each and every one of them, and I never compared it to. So there's things I like that
Well,
one
that's no
does, and
fun.
things I like the other one does. I never compared it to. I will say Marvel has gone down in quality the last couple of years from what we've gotten. It's become
That's
more
what
of
we're
the
saying.
MCU. Yeah, more of
That's
the
exactly what
MCU
we're
than
saying.
the MCU. But as far as
It.
nah, because you know how people like, oh well, DC does better cartoons and Marvel does better. Yeah, I don't do that, man. It's just um,
Oh, they do.
DC
DC
hired
does
yeah,
better
people do it.
cartoons.
Yeah. No, they do. It's a fact. It's because of who they hired way back in the day when they were doing Justice League Unlimited and all of that. And they hired Bruce Timm and his crew, and they've been at the forefront of doing most of it. And they've been at the forefront of doing the DC animated line ever since. So, and Bruce Timm is a hardcore comic book fan. So,
Mm-hmm.
when he's sort of like the James Gunn of animation. Um, so he's just hardcore. You're gonna get heroes that you don't normally see. He's gonna go dive deep in there, throw some people on screen. You'd be like, oh man, that's such and
Mm-hmm.
such. So I really like what they've done. Marvel needs to find one. I think Marvel's problem is, remember Reno back in the day, and they did the Japanese anime style. They did Blade and they did X-Men and all that. I think
Well,
they
those anime studios did those Marvel animes, but I don't. That's not Marvel Animation. Those were anime
no,
studios
no,
that did
no. Those
those.
are anime
I'm
studios,
not gonna
and I
get at
think
the Marvel.
right. And no, I'm not giving it to them. I'm just saying that I think Marvel just stuck with that formula. Like I think that they feel like if it looks anime, people will be more inclined to watch it. Rather
I
than
think the problem
scrolling
with them
through
is
and
that they're
stuff.
just too. They seem they want to cater to children more, and they never cater to the older fans. That's my problem with Marvel Animation. The all
That's true
the
too.
all
That's true too.
their cartoons are always just for kids, and it's like you don't animation does not equal children, right? That's the thing that
No,
people animation does not equal kids, or cartoons and anime, these are two different things. And like, DC understands that just because they're making an animated thing, it doesn't mean it's a kid's cartoon. It's an
right,
animated film, and
right.
often they're rated R. You know what I mean? So that's what I like about DC. But also, I mean, the animation is better, and I think they all kind of borrow a little bit from an anime style, but they definitely gear it more towards adult fans and
Oh, the
you know
Marvel. But I've
DC
seen I've seen
DC
some Marvel cartoons. Oh, DC, yeah,
no
DC definitely
DC
does. No,
yeah.
DC definitely does. But Marvel, I've seen
Marvel
Marvel
is
do some
geared
stuff
towards
that's
kids.
more. Yeah, I've seen Marvel do some stuff that's more adult. That's not really geared towards kids, but
Show me.
it's always in that.
Tell
What's
me
the
the
one I
name
sent you?
of.
What's the one I sent you with the Punisher? And Punisher was beating Jokers up. Yeah, something confidential. That
Oh yeah,
Blade
yeah, yeah.
joints,
That's
all
a
of
good one.
those.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've done them, but they haven't done many of them, like you said, and the ones that they
Hmm.
do, they do towards kids, but they're always in that same Japanese
Well,
animation style.
it's
They
like they
never
feel
they
like
never really vary from that.
like you said Punisher. It's like, well, yeah, that's the Punisher, but Marvel, it has to be the Punisher for them to fucking do an adult one, whereas DC will do a Superman one for adults. You know what I mean? Like they don't. It doesn't have to be their dark, murderous character to be for an adult. Like with Marvel, it has to be Deadpool or Punisher or Blade for them to do rated R. And it's like, why don't you do fucking rated R Iron Man, rated R Thor? Why not? That's what the comics do, and that's what DC does, and that's why I kind of
Right.
favor DC animation, because they
Over
they don't
Marvel.
they don't have, yeah, because just because they're not afraid to make for adults. And
No, they're not. They're
let's be
not.
honest, comics, kids generally don't like comics, and kids today definitely aren't fucking with comics. They're fucking with manga and anime. And, you know, I feel like the comic fucking companies should go ahead and embrace that shit, lean into it, get more grown up, start making, more rated R stuff, start making more dark. Of course, you're gonna still keep your kids' content and stuff like that, but I don't know. Seems like they're afraid to. But I think a great case in point that we're talking about right now, uh, and I've watched the Creature Commandos multiple times, and I think it's an incredible debut for the DCU. It's definitely peak tier adult content. And in the early days of the MCU, the projects announced for the Phase One weren't considered slam dunks. And you've heard all this before, but it bears repeating. I think Iron Man wasn't a household name. Robert Downey Jr. was considered damaged goods, right? And to the point that Jon Favreau had to literally fight to cast him as Tony Stark. Thor and Captain America were considered risky films, risky unknown characters, and digging into fantasy and pre-action at a time when Marvel needed guaranteed slam dunk hits. And so nobody knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy even were. Even comic fans didn't even know who they were unless they were real comic nerds. And, forget about the fact that they'd, been led by, the chubby comedian from the NBC sitcom Parks and Recreation. That's who, Star-Lord was. He was the chubby guy from Parks and Rec. And obviously Guardians of the Galaxy, succeeded as a team franchise and remains, in my opinion, the best of the MCU. Definitely the best of the Phase One, and I think it kind of, when you look at the secret ingredient, the one constant there, it's James Gunn, who joined the MCU after cutting his teeth on exaggerated genre storytelling with 2010's Super and 2006's Slither. Two awesome films that are absolutely worth watching if you haven't seen Super or Slither. Even back in the first Guardians movie, right, you could tell that Gunn understood the characters. It's like we always say, you got to care about these characters in order to care about the movie. And if you don't care about the characters, you don't care about the stakes, and you don't care about the story, and you're not going to be invested in the movie, and you're not going to be immersed, and you're just going to be like, when is this shit over? And Gunn has a gift for casting and injecting heart and pathos and humor in a way that isn't. I think a good example is Taika Waititi. That's how you don't do humor. That's what you don't do. That's how you don't do comedy in action, right? That's what you don't do. James Gunn showed you what you do. And he is able to put, and I think Marvel's next mistake was that Guardians was so good, so well received, that every movie after it tried to be
like
half a comedy, right? You know what I mean? And that then built up to the point that we got to the Taika Waititi Love and Thunder movie, where it was just a complete, it like came to a head. It's like, guys, you're bordering on slapstick. And like, that's not what Gunn was doing. That's not why Guardians was good, but they never figured that out. You need James Gunn. I think they should have given Feige's job to Gunn. I think that was the biggest mistake. And I think DC is gonna fucking reap the fucking benefits. And he helped audiences relate to a volatile, damaged raccoon. A raccoon. Like, people love Rocket Raccoon. When I first heard of that character, I was like, that's a whack character. No one's gonna like. That's stupid. That's corny. No one's gonna like that. And fucking, it's dope, and he's hard as fuck.
I always liked the Rocket from the comic books. I liked the Rocket. I always thought Rocket was cool. Even when I was a kid, we thought Rocket was cool.
Well, I mean,
seeing him on the screen, seeing him on the big screen, made him even better to me. But we always liked the Rocket when I was a kid. We always thought Rocket was cool as hell.
I mean, we never heard of Rocket Raccoon when I was a kid. That's the thing, and like a lot of people never heard of Rocket Raccoon. They never heard of Guardians. And most people never did, unless you.
Yeah, I heard of Rocket. Yeah, only thing with Rocket, you know why I like Rocket?
Super duper hardcore geeked out geek, then you knew about Rocket.
Yeah. The reason why we liked the Rocket so much, because he always had such big guns. He always pulled out the biggest gun. He always had different guns. Like he just always came with something different. You like, yo, what Rocket got now? And then when they put him in the game, Marvel versus Capcom, I was like, yo, Rocket Raccoon is in there. He
Mm.
just was. It was like, yo,
Yeah, first time I saw him was in a video game, and I was like, "Yeah, that's corny." And then when I saw the Guardians comics, I was like, "Because I think talking animals are corny generally, and I don't think anthropomorphic animals are cool. I don't see them. I was always for the more, I don't know, just more kind of edgy shit, and you know, James Gunn like kind of changed that. He kind of like turned that on. He kind of made me be able to like these characters that normally I would have found corny. And he takes a talking tree, that says three words, "I am Groot," and it's dope. And he just has a talent for this shit. And I think he refined his skill for that rich character development and world building over the rest of the Guardians movies. Even that musical Christmas movie was dope. Two Avengers team ups to which he contributed. And then his first DC feature, the Suicide Squad, which I think was leaps and bounds better than the first one. And then it's Gunn's kind of ear for that attitude soaked, quippy dialogue and his understanding of the recognizable human edge of it, the pain, the emotion, and sort of his phenomenal casting instincts that now elevate the animated Creature Commandos movie, the first step into that anticipated DCU that we've been waiting for, that has started on December 5th, and so it is here. We're 2 days in, and I think Creature Commandos has like a very eclectic, unforgettable roster that, again, before I saw this movie, I was like, nah, this is gonna kind of be kind of whack, maybe, and like monsters, like Frankenstein, like this is gonna be kind of lame. I was really, to the truth, I was really thinking like this is gonna be hit or miss, and I think Gunn made it fucking a hit. He made it a fucking hit. I mean, I don't know. Think back to a time before James Gunn's 2014 Guardians of the Galaxy. No one knew who Groot was. No one knew who Drax was. No one knew who Rocket was except for Stu. No one knew Nebula, Gamora, Star-Lord. But their strengths, their weaknesses, their highlights, and their flaws, I think, helped them form a lovable team. And that same thing is happening with Creature Commandos. I was totally thinking about Guardians while I was watching it, because you start off with these like they're in jail, just like kind of Guardians were at first, and they're in this prison, and it definitely has similar tones, but it's so different. It's so different. On the surface, it does mirror his Suicide Squad, right? Amanda Waller's there. She has a problem. Viola Davis is voicing her, of course, and so she recruits the leader, Rick Flag Sr., who is voiced by Frank Grillo, who's going to play him in the movie. And then this, ensemble of misfits, right, to head behind the enemy lines and clean up a possible mess. Only this time, thanks to, the disaster that was Project Starfish, which we remember from Suicide Squad with the big fucking starfish guy. And so Waller is forbidden from using Belle Reve prisoners for her military missions, which is what she, where she got the Suicide Squad from. And so she uses the loophole of the technicality where it says she can't use any human prisoners. These aren't human, right? These are monsters. So that's kind of the loophole she's using. And they interviewed Frank Grillo here with who was the lead in the Creature Commandos team, and I asked him what was his initial reaction to the show and to the material, and he said he was instantly praised Gunn's writing, and he said the writing was the clear standout, and he said it's script. When I tell you, you say every one of his words, and they work better than anything you can think of to say. Script. It's actor proof, and that's dope. As an actor, coming in and using a script as like a guide, right? And then they kind of make up funny words or try to make it better or give it character and all that. And I've heard, this is not the first actor I've heard this say, Gunn's scripts, you just read them, like you just verbatim, and that's actually rare. So, but Creature Commandos is a team similar to Guardians that Marvel has, that DC has, that is lesser known. Started as a DC comic in 1980, originated by J.M. DeMatteis, and Pat Broderick. It starts like sets in World War II, and eventually the team was modernized in 2000, but there isn't like a hard, roster, which a Gunn is, kind of stuck on. But this kind of allows him to get creative with the choices of who he wanted to bring into the team and who he wanted to compile this version under Rick Flag Sr. And he does things outside the box, right? We get to return to see Weasel again, played again by his brother Sean Gunn, and as well as the introduction of the Bride, who we're going to talk about later. The Bride is a deep character. Dr. Phosphorus, played by Alan Tudyk, Nina Mazursky, and GI Robot, also played by Sean Gunn, is definitely a crazy ass crew. But I'm just really glad that DC decided to drop 2 episodes of Creature Commandos, because it does take until the end of the second episode for the full story to really kick into gear. Episode 1 is kind of like, a place setter where we kind of meet Rick Flag Sr. and his team, and they kind of introduce everything, and they embark on the mission. By the end of episode 2, though, you start to get the sense of the way that the Creature Commandos is going to handle the backstories for each member of the team, and from that point on, you're just holding on for the ride as it kind of wiles out. And so Zoe Chow, who voices Nina Mazursky in the show, who's like a fish, not a fish, but like an underwater, amphibian type humanoid. And
she's a female version of the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Exactly. She said, we've got the 7 scripts and I tore through them. Wish I could say it was what often happens, but it's not. She said, and then I read it again because it was so fun. I mean, the world is so robust and full. There are music cues written in, so you get to play the music while you're reading it. The humor, the action, the interpersonal relationships, the origin stories, how distinct each character is, his knowledge of the world, and his steady hand guiding throughout the whole thing, talking about James Gunn. As a reader or an audience member, you can just relax and be like, I'm about to go on a ride and I will be looked after. And that's how I felt as an actor too, inside of this piece. So I kind of gotta agree, you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously I haven't seen the entire season of Creature Commandos, and as soon as it ended, I went right back to watch the episodes again because it was just that dope. And I think it got better the second time through. But it's definitely a funny show. Definitely has its heart and its depth that you would not expect from an animated anything, you know what I mean? Like, generally you would expect, more serious shit from live action, but man, he really hit the mark. He said, I wish they dropped every episode. I'm gonna wait until January 9th, then watch them all. I heard Frankenstein isn't so great, but his Bride was good. I agree. Want to see them in live action. That would be sick. Fatal Joy, salute. Welcome to the show. Welcome. What up? Peace. Yeah, man. They yeah, when you give James Gunn enough time, he's gonna dig beneath the surface of his characters and surprise us with unexpected depth. Think about how different our perception of Peacemaker is from the moment that we first met him in Suicide Squad. And so to place where he's like rescuing Harcourt and saving the world from Project Butterfly and telling off the members of the Justice League. It's a complete reinvention of the character, and it makes him more identifiable, more flawed, more human, more relatable, and therefore more accessible. And it also gives, John Cena plenty to work with. And I think this, to me, is very encouraging for the upcoming DCU projects. All of them. Anything that they do is going to have this vibe. That's why I'm like, already fucking already comparing this to the MCU, because the MCU has gone downhill and not in a good way. And everything that Marvel has done since Endgame compared to everything I hear that James Gunn's doing, I can hands down say that everything the DCU has planned is better than everything Marvel's has done since Endgame. But I will say what Marvel has planned, I hope, has been inspired by the reaction they got from Deadpool versus Wolverine, or Deadpool and Wolverine, which was phenomenal, which I fucking am so happy that they did, and is the best thing that they've done since since they were good, since Endgame, since Tony died. Man, but this shit here, this DCU, Guardians, I think it's gonna be not Guardians, Creature Commandos, DCU. It's if Fantastic Four, if they go back, because I know what they had planned for Fantastic Four, Stu, was going to be more MCU, it was going to be more far left agenda propaganda. You can tell, but after the success of Wolverine and Deadpool, they saw like, okay, we can go back to making movies good again and actually writing dope shit and comic accurate shit and giving fans what they want. Fans of comics actually enjoying the movies again, stuff like that. So that made them, let's hire Robert Downey Jr. again. Let's hire the Russo brothers again. And all of a sudden, no more Kang the Conqueror. Now we're doing Robert Downey. Now we're doing Russo brothers. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that they rethought their plans for Fantastic Four, at least how they wrote it. Hopefully Norin Rad is going to be in it now, because you cannot fucking have Shia LaBeouf without Norin Rad. Please don't make that mistake, Marvel.
I'm sorry, Reno. They're gonna do it. They're gonna do
If
it.
they do it, if they do it, bro, that's what I'm talking. That's the bullshit.
They're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. They can't help themselves.
Well, no, the reason I'm giving him a little bit. The only reason I'm giving him a little bit is because Wolverine and Deadpool was so good, and they clearly had a change of attitude after its success. So, but you're probably right. The people that have control of Fantastic Four are probably gonna keep on their agenda and just do what they plan to do anyway, and let it be a flop and bomb, which it's gonna be if they do that. But I think,
because if you notice in all the newer movies, every one of the heavier hitting um, villains or main villains or main protagonists is always a female. And if it's not and if the female isn't the main protagonist that's hard hitting, they always have on the other side a female that is of a more important nature than the other character that the movie's about or anything like that. Because when we had even in Wolverine and Deadpool, the main protagonist was a female.
well,
Doctor
here's the
Strange and the
thing.
multiverse of madness.
It's not
Main
the worst
protagonist,
thing in the
female.
world to have we're not we love female characters
No,
and
no,
and,
no,
and
no. I'm
saying
not.
nerdy,
No, I'm not
like,
even.
but
No,
the
I'm not even
way they
bark.
use
No, I'm
them,
not even barking up that
I
tree.
know,
I'm not even
I
barking up
know.
that tree. I'm just saying, like, make it like if you want to make it more realistic, and like you're saying, if they want to do better, they got to diversify. I mean, like, you're gonna have to diversify. You're gonna have to add some new characters, get some new characters, get some better characters. Every character doesn't have to be this female lead, and like like it's just it's like we said. That's why they call it the MCU because that's all we're getting.
Well, because
We
they
got the
they
Marvels.
try
We
to make
got
the main character look like an idiot and all that, and make them look like buffoons or weak, and the women got to save them and shit like that. Um, Yeah, sadly, but again, like I said, I'm gonna give them a benefit of the doubt just because of what they're doing with Robert Downey and the Russo brothers, and hopefully they're, gonna kind of balance it out. I know they're still gonna have their wokeness, but as long as they give me a good story, I don't mind any of that shit. That's fine. Like, give people and female leads, female characters. I love a good female character. I love a good strong female lead. I love a female badass. Fuck yes, but please don't do it at the expense of all the men characters, and and just make them corny as shit, and like Brie Larson? Like you're replacing Robert Downey Jr. with Brie Larson? No, no. This is the way they're doing it, man. But hopefully,
Hopefully they change. They have a
hopefully they're
change of
changing.
pace. They have a change of
Hopefully
pace. Like
they'll bring it back. But again, it's Disney, guys. It's not Marvel. It's Disney.
come on,
You know what
it
I'm
is
saying?
Disney.
Give him a chance before we judge. I'm telling you, man, Nornrad better be in there. He better be in there. You cannot have Shalabao without Nornrad. It's just silly. Fine that they're not talking about it. Whatever, make it a surprise. Cool. And advertise the female Silver Surfer to get all the fans that you seem to be wanting to attract, which I don't understand why you want those particular fans because they're not really comic fans. It doesn't really. But anyway, let them learn. Let them learn. They've been learning, and they'll learn more once once their wallets get hit. You just get you hit them in the wallet, and they're gonna learn. So I have faith, and I know we see what they did with the Acolyte. It's not gonna work. So it's just
See what they did with Star Wars. It's just not working. It's not working with Star Wars at all.
it's not. I mean,
Yeah, it's not working at all. They're pushing Ray. They're pushing every
yeah, they're not
female they can
doing.
push. Yeah,
But
everybody's a female.
hopefully they're gonna find a balance, and I think they will. And they Skeleton Crew is decent. So far, Andor's coming back. That's been great. There's good stuff. They're talking about finishing Ahsoka, which was I think half good. I liked a lot of Ahsoka. I really dug a
I
lot of
like
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka. Period. Yeah, I
A
like
lot of people
Ahsoka. Period.
hated it. A lot of people, but you know who
I don't
really
know
hated it?
how. Bro. I thought it was
I'll tell
good.
you who. I'll tell you how. The people that hated it were the nerdrotics and the critical drinkers and the YouTubers that hate woke stuff so bad that as soon as you put a female in it or any person of color, it's automatically they hate it, and that's bullshit that you will never see from this channel. We don't do that here. You know what I'm saying? Female characters are not a problem. Characters of color, obviously not a fucking problem. The problem is bad writing. The problem is negating writing a story just to have a certain number of females in the movie or have a certain number of people of color in the movie and not thinking or even worrying about the fucking story. That's like the last thing they care about. And it fucking shows. What Gunn is saying, what DC is saying, they're saying we're not even going to do movies until the script is approved, until the third act is done and approved, and we like it. Like Marvel doesn't even write a script. They'll green light a movie. They'll start production and be like still fucking around with the script, still picking directors and shit. It's like, whoa, slow down. You're making movies for the wrong reason. So
Yeah,
Gunn's like,
that's
we're
what
not
I'm
making
saying.
it. We're not making it until the script is good. Like, when's Batman coming out? He's like, it's when the script is ready. That's it. It's not. There's no deadline. There's no. Oh, we got to have it out by this date. Well, the script ain't done. Well, still, we got to have it out by this date. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that, and it's gonna show in the work. So, but all those Grillo, whose character has several scenes with Frankenstein, he said, David Harbour is guy plays Frankenstein. The guy from Stranger Things, he plays the Red Guardian in the Marvel movies. He's the sheriff in Stranger Things, the big huge dude, David Harbour. So he plays Frankenstein, and he's definitely had plenty of experience playing heroes and monsters in the MCU. He's doing the Red Guardian. He played Hellboy in a movie that didn't really take off. But I truly believe that he's doing his best work as Frankenstein in this. Frankenstein can't really comprehend why his bride has rejected him, and Grillo, whose character Rick Flag has a lot of scenes with Frankenstein. He said, I was in awe. He said, I did some voice work with David Harbour, and I have to tell you, I was just blown away by the talent. He said, I mean, Harbour had me on the floor in the booth. I literally had to stop recording on the floor. I felt like I didn't know what he was doing when he came in. I was like, oh my God, this guy is amazing. And I've worked with him before. And then he kind of broke my heart. And the same thing with Maria Bakalova. I mean, just the level of talent that Gunn has assembled is extraordinary. End quote. But Creature Commandos, it's very, very good. One of the better things Gunn's done in the comic book field, ahead of a lot of the stuff, a lot of the Suicide Squads and stuff, right up there with Guardians. This is definitely, if this level of quality that Gunn plans on bringing to all the upcoming DC projects, I'm telling y'all, I'm completely down. I'm totally on board with this reinvention of the DC universe. The arrival of Superman, Supergirl, Teen Titans, The Authority, Lanterns, Swamp Thing. Forget about it. Like, there's so much cool shit coming, and it's being done by real fans. I think that's gonna be important. Um, but I want to, so you guys know how we do. It's a spoiler show. So if you haven't seen Creature Commandos yet, or you don't mind, hearing about it, we're gonna break it down for those who want to know exactly what it was about. The first two episodes came out on Max. Starting with the Kali Wobbles was a news report reveals that Cersei, a rogue Amazonian and sorceress, is leading a group called the Sons of Themyscira, and she claims to be the island nation's rightful heir. And no one seems quite sure whether it's a real place. The people are saying Themyscira is a myth; it's not even a real place, and da 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 da. And so, alongside the Sons, Cersei's attacking a small Eastern European nation called Pokalistan. And I just want to pause here because Pokalistan, if you switch around the K and the L, it's Polakistan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's funny as shit. Um, Listen, I got Polish in me, so I don't care. I can say that. Something the U.S. government can't allow, given its interests in the country's petroleum reserves. And so, Amanda Waller, who has been barred from using human operatives by Congress, tasks Rick Flag Sr. with leading a group of monsters, Task Force M, to protect Princess, what's her name? Iana Rostovic. And so Rick Flag Sr. in Pokalistan, alongside the bride of Frankenstein, G.I. Robot, Dr. Phosphorus, Nina Mazursky, and Weasel, the princess takes an immediate interest to Rick and attempts to seduce him. And he turns her down, but we learn more about his relationship with his son, Rick Flag Jr. The bride and Nina leave the castle and head to the broken down house where she was created. So Dr. Phosphorus, meanwhile, attempts to get his hands on the device that can free or fry the team. And so a brutal fight ensues with Rick gaining the upper hand and making it clear to Phosphorus that Waller can still take them out whenever she sees fit. Back at the house, you've got the old woman who watches from a distance and calls Eric Frankenstein to let him know that the bride has come back. And so in the second installment, second episode, the Tourmaline necklace, we learned that Eric forced Dr. Frankenstein to create the bride. And so he'd have someone who loves him, right? Just like in the story of Frankenstein, he wanted Dr. Frankenstein to make him a bride, make him a companion, someone that wouldn't judge him for being a zombie, right? That's from the story. And so, constructed from various body parts, she's horrified upon seeing Eric, but bonds with her creator, just like in the story of Frankenstein, Mary Shelley's version. So he gives her a beautiful necklace, and the two have sex. And then, while a devastated Eric secretly watches on the, just he watches. Later, we learn that he brutally murdered his creator, Dr. Frankenstein, making the bride hate him. So that's why the bride now hates the monster. And then, again, just like in the fucking Mary Shelley version. So in the hundreds of years since that happened, he's continued to pursue her, and with a fight ensuing every time they get together, they brawl. And so, make no mistake about it, he's definitely a stalker. He's definitely a creep ass motherfucker. So in the present, though, the princess tends to Rick and is unable, Rick, he can't resist her, and so they have sex again. So, given a heads up by the sons of Themyscira, Cersei attacks the bride and Nina, and an epic fight scene ensues. It's phenomenally done. The bride proves herself a badass, and but she's no match for Cersei's magic. But the bride is dope. The bride is a dope character, way cooler, I think, than Frankenstein. But so as Rick and the rest of the Task Force M close in, Task Force M for Monster, Nina is shot, and the bride is sort of thrown off by the Amazonian off the building. So shit ain't really looking good for either of them. They're knocked out as the episode comes to an end, and uh, you know, you know, that's it. That's how it kind of comes to a culmination. But Cersei is very powerful. She's dope. She believes herself to be the rightful heir of Themyscira, right? That's where Wonder Woman is from. And so to that end, she's got the sons of Themyscira with her and trying to take over shit. But she's got some crazy ass powers, bro. Eric Frankenstein, just like I said, he's just more of like a stalker. The bride and Nina, they pretty much where it ends. It's like they're kind of like beaten. It seems like they're dead. But we'll see. Because after they get beat down by Cersei, kind of ends, and so debuting magic for the first time in the new DCU. The first time we've had magic as a power in this universe. First time we really had anything. But Cersei was able to turn the bride's arms into inflatables, while the sons shot and broke Nina's helmet open, which was like her fishbowl, right? Has like a bowl of water over her head so she can breathe, and they broke that so she can't breathe. And so the rest of the task force are kind of on the way, but they might be too late to save them, is kind of how it ends. And I'm sure, they'll make it, but it wouldn't be that much of a stretch to suggest that they would soon die, mirroring James Gunn's Suicide Squad, where several members of Task Force X were shockingly killed right in the first few minutes of the movie. So not like normal shit where it's like, oh well, they're definitely gonna live because they're main characters. Not the case with Gunn. He's not afraid to kill main characters. So we'll see. But Eric Frankenstein still on his way to find his bride. Likewise, considering the final shot of the episode was played for humor, with Nina telling the bride, "Go fuck yourself." And so, but it should be assumed that Nina and the bride will recover and be featured on the further episodes that are still to come out. And it's going to come out every Thursday on Max, if you aren't watching it where I'm watching it. But the bride, though, the bride, she's got a tragic story. Like I said, Gunn, these like his characters, he makes them deep so you can so you can care about them, so they can be real to you. And he does not disappoint. Frankenstein, she's pretty dope. The bride and Nina head up to Victor Frankenstein's old laboratory. So we see like flashbacks of the moment that the bride came to life in this electrical storm. And so Victor explains to Eric. Victor is Dr. Frankenstein. Eric is Frankenstein, the monster. Eric Frank is the monster. So the monster, Eric, he tells him that because she came from nothing. You know what I'm saying? And unlike a baby from a womb, she doesn't have any idea who she is or what she is or where she is. And he says she is but a cluster of fear and not knowing. And when Frankenstein tries to give her flowers, she screams when she sees him and how he looks and shit, because she still sees as a human. And so we cut back to the present, where the bride tells Nina that she's that she's a human being with gills, And while the rest of the team are real monsters, as they hunt for the bride's tourmaline necklace, we see her learning English with Victor, and Frankenstein's getting impatient, and he's like, you want a bride who can speak, don't you? And so Doctor says, and then the monster says, words get in the way of the truth. And so the Victor shows the bride her necklace for the first time, and we cut back to the present where Nina agrees to look for it if it means that they can go back to the castle. So outside of the Sons of Themyscira tells Cersei about Nina and the bride, and there's a lot of cutting back and forth between the past and the present. But the crux of it is this: Frankenstein desperately wanted the bride to love him, but she was afraid of him, and he lashed out at Victor.
Which is classic. That's classic Frankenstein.
Classic
Because
Mary
you know,
Shelley
yeah,
Frankenstein.
yeah, yeah, classic Frankenstein. Period. Because in any Frankenstein like novel, even that was the whole premise of it, was that she just
Yeah, Mary Shelley
he
wrote the
always
novel.
got yeah yeah, he always got rejected. Um, 'Cause as a matter of fact, Gold del Toro said he wants to do a version of that, of a classic Frankenstein movie. He said that's a passion project of his, is doing that.
Who said?
Gold del Gold del Toro. Gold del Toro, however you say it, man. The one that did Labyrinth, not Labyrinth. They did the Hellboy movies, the first Hellboy movies.
Oh, Guillermo. Oh yeah, Guillermo del Toro. Yeah,
Guillermo tomorrow. Yeah, he wants to. He
yeah,
literally came out. Yeah, I don't know how to say it. I
yeah.
always mess. I always
Guillermo
chop it.
Telmo. I don't
He,
know, fucking Elmo.
yeah, yeah,
Whatever.
yeah. He said he wants to do a Frankenstein movie
Yeah,
based
I
off
think he
of Mary
is.
Shelley's
He is doing
Frankenstein.
one. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he's
is.
doing it. Yeah, because he said he wants to do it. He wants to follow the book so
Yeah,
closely, and he
yeah.
wants to do it in a very traditional way. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he said that the stuff
Mm-hmm.
that we've gotten over the last couple of years hasn't been that. Like it's not good. Like
Yeah,
in his mind, he just says it's not. It doesn't deserve that title, and he wants
yeah.
to. I guess he wants to put he want to put some respect on the name. You know what I mean, so I can't wait to
Right,
see it because I like
right.
his movies. I like what he does, and when you think about Frankenstein and Dracula, Werewolf, and all, I mean, yeah, we got doing them in a classic way is great. All these spins and twists people put on it, it's cool, but it doesn't put the fear of or just the irony, because a lot of those movies are just ironic. There's just a
Yeah.
lot of irony in those movies.
Mm-hmm. I suppose. Yeah. I mean, Frankenstein's always been a dope story. The original book, I mean, obviously the Robert De Niro one was the closest that we've gotten, I think, to the original book as far as movies go. But and that was dope. Uh, but we do get the final flashback, and Eric reveals that he has brutally murdered his maker Victor, so that he could be with the bride, who he felt was more taking a liking to Victor, which again is the same thing from the novel, and basically kicks off this century-long rivalry across the world. And it's just really well done, really well written, and just really dope. But James Gunn says that he will direct again. Because I mean, I think a lot of people think that like everything in the DCU is made by James Gunn. Like that's not possible. He's not writing and directing every project, not at all. So he's just overseeing it. He's Kevin Feigeing it. He's producing. He's like kind of like not producing, but overseeing. I guess he's the overseer. But Gunn, who wrote all 7 episodes of this, and I think directed by Matt Peters. Um, uh, he said, discovering this comic book about the ragtag bunch of misfits, G.I. Robot, Bride of Frankenstein, Eric Frankenstein, Clayface, and Rick Flag Sr., who make up Marvel's um, Guardians of the Galaxy look like tree hugging members of the Peace Corps, and so basically this troop is assembled, by security operative Amanda Waller, who's now, of course, only permitted to deploy non-human, uh, soldiers. And he said, what he said? He said, "I think the creatures are more tragic than the Guardians of the Galaxy." He said, "Guardians are the good guys at the end of the day. We all know. We know that from the beginning." He said, "Creatures, we don't know who is good and who is bad." Gunn said that the creature commandos are dirtier than that. People die, and there isn't necessarily a greater reason for it. It's just something that happens. It mimics reality more than Guardians does. And he's not. I mean, he's right on. He hits it right on the head, because like that show, like, I was blown away. I really didn't think Guardian Creature Commandos was gonna be this, like, this real, like this deep, or this violent, like just this badass. Like, it's just way better than I thought it was gonna be. I just thought it was gonna be kind of corny, like boring. I really thought I was not gonna like this one. I was really just like, okay, cool, let's get fucking Superman over here. But no, no,
Now they put the all into it.
I'm excited. I'm excited for the rest of this show. Like, just like I was watching Invincible, I think this is better than Invincible.
Man, Invincible was good. That
Invincible is
was
good.
this was good, bro. That set the bar. That set the bar real high. So,
It
yeah,
did.
so this was
And
really did.
Gun. Yep. Well, this is setting a new bar. I think Creature Commandos is setting a fucking new bar. Because Invincible is definitely Invincible. Rather, the that last season, not so. I wasn't like, the first season was great. Second season was okay, but like it just kind of went down to me. Just got not as good. So this is definitely something to take its place, for sure, for sure, for sure. And this isn't the first project under um that Gunn's ever done, but it's the first project of the Gods and Monsters DCU phase. So it's the first DCU project. So the DCU, the DC universe has officially now begun. Anything before this was not official DC universe. So anything that's been out before, don't ask, don't wonder, don't question, don't be like, was this part of the DCU? Is this part of DCU? Stop it.
Yeah, none
if
of it
it's
is.
if it's before Creature Commandos, it's not. Just real simple. And he actually began cracking it before getting the job as CEO of DC, the whole multimedia studio. And so he went the animation route with the IP as a live action feature adaptation. I think would have been significantly more expensive. To do Creature Commandos live action, way too expensive. It's smart to do it in animation.
And
And if
unnecessary.
you
I think it was unnecessary. There's nothing
yeah,
wrong with doing it in anime style. It's
nope.
dope. As long as you do it right and the art's good
As long
and
as
the
you
voice
don't, as
acting
long
is
as you
well,
don't, yeah, as long as you remember that it doesn't have to be for kids just because it's animated.
that's because animated, yeah.
As long
That
as you
too.
remember that,
Completely.
it's good.
Yeah, yeah. It's listen, there's nothing wrong with doing it. And like you said, if Invincible got it off, why can't they get it off with Creature Commandos?
Exactly. They in the interview they also asked him what direction that he'll take next, or what is he going to direct next? Because remember, he directs this, but he's not directing everything. But what the next DC feature is going into production after Supergirl, post the first quarter of 2025, and whether those rumors about getting a third Batman being in development beyond the Matt Reeves and Andy Muschietti movies are actually true. So one axiom that Gunn will preside by at DC Studios, unlike some rival comic book studios, he said we want the screenplays to be ready before we greenlight them. What goes into production is based on what is ready to go. I've just seen for many, many years the industry get dragged down by having start dates on projects and going into production with screenplays that don't have a third act. It happens constantly. It's the primary reason why
Wow, that's crazy.
films it's the prime check this line right here. It's the primary reason why films aren't as good as they were in the 70s and 80s.
He might got a
Fucking
point. Matter of fact, he does have a point. Because films in the 70s and 80s were great.
ain't no might about it.
But yeah,
Yeah.
he's got a point. They're great.
Yeah. I
They were
mean,
great.
and that's why.
We
That's
were just
why.
talking. Was it like 2 weeks ago? We were talking about that. And we were naming like really good 80s movies and
Mhm.
70s movies. But the thing is,
Yeah.
kids, people of this, kids of this generation or adults of this generation, they don't think that's possible. They like they'll
Mhm.
like even with music, they'll hear music from like the 90s, the 80s. They're like, wow, this was good. I didn't know it was good, but I never heard it. Like, take the time to listen. Take the time to watch. Take the time to listen. There's nothing wrong with watching
Right.
something old. Everybody wants something new nowadays. Sometimes you got to go
Exactly.
old to get something new. That's all I can tell you.
Exactly.
That's the best advice my grandfather ever gave me. What do you always say? Old is not new is not better. It's just different from old. He used to always tell me that. Like, he's just like sometimes you gotta go back and go forward. That's true.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's 100% true.
And
And
check this out.
I hope I just hope that James gonna keeps this run going, like you said, keeps it going good. But we're in for a good ride.
Oh, this is
I
a good
can't.
question. Pedro Luciano said, "Was Peacemaker in the DCU? Was Amanda Waller and was Blue Beetle?" As far as the DCEU is not the same. Peacemaker started in the DCEU.
You
Season
yes,
one was EU. Season two is DCU.
you
But he said some of what the first season had in it was canon, except any mentions or any references to DCEU stuff, which was pretty heavily referenced in a lot of the season one, a lot of Peacemaker, especially like those after scenes and all that. But
right,
that's it. He said, but we're still using those same characters. He's like, that's still my same thing. So we're still using my same Peacemaker cast and crew, and season two will be actually DCU, whereas season one was DCEU. Um,
right,
Blue Beetle, whereas the Blue Beetle movie was a DCEU universe movie, they are saying they may still use the character and actor Blue Beetle in a DCU movie, but that doesn't mean that the Blue Beetle movie was DCU. But it almost would be because they would be still using that character, so they may harken back to that movie from the DCU movie, possibly. But that's all remains to be seen. That's not really in the Gods and Monsters, the first chapter yet. We will definitely.
yo,
I hope it's a Flash movie that's next. A Flash movie? Oh yeah, no, there's not. There's not a Flash movie in this Gods and Monsters one either, but in the next chapter I expect to see Flash, I'm sure by then.
yeah, me
But
too. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. No, we
but
ain't getting
check this
Flash right now. Who said? Oh,
out.
Slade said we ain't getting the Flash right now. You hang that up. That's not happening.
But this
Flash just
this
had his run.
yeah, yeah, they kind of botched Flash, and nobody they want to get that taste out of your mouth for a bit. But something he said in here, he says, check this out. He said, Creature Commandos features talents, blah, 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 blah. First official project. Okay, so it is the first official project that will restart the on screen DCU, but fans shouldn't be expecting the same formulaic roadmap as the MCU. So the MCU has a very formulaic roadmap where they do the same movie over and fucking over again. They do the same superhero origin, it's the same beat for beat movie with different characters. And they're all like, it's the same kind of look and feel, and all the movies kind of look and feel the same. And it's intentional, but people have gotten what they're labeling incorrectly as superhero fatigue. It's not superhero fatigue. It's that same goddamn movie fatigue. It's the same fucking movie over and over fatigue. Anyone, of course we're getting tired of that same exact thing. And
Same
so
exact thing. Yeah, I agree.
Gunn's just going to try to do something different where every project is very different from each other. So he said, yes, there's an outline of which characters Gunn intends to explore, but nothing is going to be churned out without a perfect script. And he said, in this conversation with Collider, Steve Weintraub, Creature Commandos showrunner Dean Leroy tells Gunn says, it all comes down to the writing. If the screenplay isn't perfect, the project isn't moving forward. When asked about his iteration of Batman, Gunn says there is no pressure to meet a timeline specific date. He's saying, stop asking me fucking what date it is. We're not doing this by the dates anymore. We're going back to the 80s way of fucking making movies after the goddamn script is done. Novel fucking idea there. He laments the idea of filmmakers wasting potential on stories with no third act. And you can probably point at every Marvel movie and probably every DCEU movie, and there probably was no third act when they started fucking filming, when they started production anyway. And that's just, it's like, why? What if it doesn't come out? Like, what if they don't come up with a great ending? Like, what if it's just, and then you have movies that seem hodgepodge, and then you have directors leaving halfway. And I mean, right now they're still doing reshoots of Captain America, and the movie's coming out in like a few weeks. And like, they're doing reshoots of Thunderbolts again now, and it's like, they can't get Blade off the. Why can't you make the Blade? Like, what the fuck? Like, they're putting the cart before the horse. They're putting the agenda before the art, and it's just showing, and it's hurting the product. And that's why I say that. Listen, I'm a Marvel guy, so when I say that the DCU is outdoing Marvel, when I say DC is better than Marvel, when I say the DCU is better than MCU, like, that shit hurts. Like, that shit hurts to say. I'm saying it begrudgingly. I'm saying it to fucking motivate Marvel, because I don't want that. I personally don't want that. I personally want Marvel to do better. But that's just me. I know a lot of people are really happy, and a lot of people are mega DC fans. I'm really not a big DC fan. I'm definitely a big James Gunn fan, and now I'm a big DCU fan. And it's making me a DC fan, because now I'm learning more about characters that I never would have gotten into otherwise. Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow as the prime example of a greenlit series that was script ready. The DC duo also discusses the deeply emotional narrative of Creature Commandos, and how this show at its core is really a tragedy. And addresses fan questions like what's still canon from before, like with Rick Flag Sr.'s hair, and tons more. So here we go. Collider, gentlemen, watched the whole series. I'm a little bit upset that I don't have more. Congrats on the series. James Gunn said, thank you, man. Thank you. I'm going to start with two questions from social media, and there's a distribution plan for Creature Commandos in those countries where Max is not yet available. Gunn said, yeah, I got a list yesterday of all the places where Creature Commandos is, and it's going to be in tons of other countries. There are a couple of major ones that we're still trying to figure out, and it's in a most larger sized countries and European countries and South American countries and Asian countries right now. My man said, why is Rick Flag's hair white in Creature Commandos but black in Superman? Gunn said, because that motherfucker Frank Grillo was shooting Tulsa King when we were shooting Peacemaker. We were going to originally do the white, and he was going to dye it white. And then when I saw I saw somebody the other day say, well, hey, wait, what? What the fuck? Where'd you get that? You gonna give me one? Why you gonna give me one? See how you do? Gets blizzards delivered. He said, so I get down. He said, well, about the temporary hair dye. He said, haven't you ever heard of temporary hair dye? And I'm like, it looks like shit. Yes, I've heard of that, and it looks like absolute shit when you're putting fake gray on somebody's very black hair. And man, doesn't it look like shit? I think it does. I'm glad they didn't do that. I hate that.
Yeah,
looks very cheap. In the future, could his hair be white, or are you gonna do black? Because it is white in Creature Commandos. Gunn, Yeah, he said it could be. He said, but as you see from the series, Rick Flag Sr. is an incredibly vain man and easily swayed by women and his ego being attended to. So I think the guy dyes his hair. I think in season 2 of Peacemaker, we got a dyed beard and we also have dyed hair, which is Rick Flag. Now, to answer anyone's question, what is still canon in the DCU? Let's see. A lot of people are wondering what's canon in the DC, and as far as I can tell, it's the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. Is that true? What can you guys say about that? Well, it's whatever we mention in anything. Okay? He said, listen, Peacemaker is pretty easy. Peacemaker season 1 is basically canon outside of the appearance of the Justice League at the end, and you'll see something about that in Peacemaker season 2. So they will kind of explain that, I guess, somehow. Suicide Squad is probably a bit looser. We know that Rick Flag Sr. is angry because his son was killed by Peacemaker. So we know that the situation happened in the past. We have something to refer to if we think that it might be like what refer to think of what it might be like that happened. But that exists as canon because it was mentioned in Creature Commandos, not necessarily because it existed in Suicide Squad. I think of Suicide Squad and Peacemaker as pretty unreliable memories of what happened in the DCU. So what he's saying is like, it's, for art's sake or for interpretation or real world, in world sake, like it's gonna be, bad memories or falsely told stories, or that's how they're explaining it in canon. And he said you'll see something about the appearances of the Justice League from DCEU in Peacemaker season 2. So they're gonna do what they can to make Peacemaker season 1 make sense and be part of the DCU. But it's not officially a DCU project. James Gunn, you wrote Creature Commandos before as a spec thing, and before you knew it, you were going to be the co-head of DC. Gunn, I wasn't exactly a spec thing. I talked to Peter Girardi from Warner Brothers Animation, and he was like, you should do something in animation. He says, what do you want to do? And I said, I think I want to do Creature Commandos. So I went and wrote the episodes. So it was sort of spec, but it wasn't really. Once you got to be the co-head of DC and you realized that your 8 to 10 year arc was going to be, did these scripts change at all as because of what you realized was going to happen? Minimally, but not a lot. A lot of what DC is, and the fun for me, really is in the world building, not just the storytelling. Thank you. I don't think of DC as being, oh, this is a story where telling over multiple films and TV shows about one big bad. I don't want to have to do, as an audience member, the homework to have to see every single thing to make it make sense. It is more of a connected universe that still exists within one place, which is the DCU, which will have differences depending on who the artist is and the director is and the production designers are that are making the shows. So think like, whereas everything story-wise is connected, but the projects are very different. Okay? Like, imagine if the MCU was the MCU, but every movie was directed and the set design was created and everything was just kind of totally just unique by itself, like its own, not related at all, not like discussed with each other, like it's its own separate thing. You know what it would be a lot like? Comic books. That's exactly how comic books are. And that's what he's doing. And I love that. Every project is completely think of a comic book. It depends on who the artist is and who the writer is. That's what the comic is like. That's how that story is like. But just because DC is DC and is a shared universe, you still have comics made by different artists, written by different writers, different people directing. And those comics, those actual comics that are connected, are very different from each other. Marvel's the exact same way. That's how comics are. That's not a DC thing or a Marvel thing. That's a comic book thing. Image is the same way. Any comic company is the same way. That's how comic books are. And I've said it a billion times. I'm going to keep saying it. what I love about the DCU is that, and what I love about Gunn is that it's going to be more like comics. Um, it's going to be more like an adapted live action comic, and that's kind of like what I think these comic movies should have always been. But what they've always tried to do is they've always tried to make the comic and take it and make it like a realistic thing, and like that's the movie. Like that's how they've done all live action. That's how they've translated it. They try to make it realistic. Try to put it in like the real world or whatever. Um, you know, I mean, even as far back, and then think of like the He-Man movie, like where it took place on Earth. Just so what? So that casual audiences could relate. It's just like the Skeleton Crew show with Star Wars now that they're doing. It's taking place on a planet that's just like Earth. Why? It's nothing like Star Wars to attract to cast a wider net and attracts people that don't care or know about lore, and they just want something they can relate to. And it's just very cheap and commercial. And but Gunn ain't doing that. That's not what the DCU is going to be like. And that alone, I feel, makes it more promising than more of the same, which is what you're getting from Marvel. So if you really love everything Marvel's done, everything since Endgame, like all this bullshit, you love all that stuff, you don't get what I'm talking about, and you probably won't like DC because you just want, you want more just casually relatable, more, kind of down to earth, kind of everyone's, kind of everyman thing. If that's your thing, cool. For me, like I'm more of like a comic fan, and I like want more. I want my comic adaptations to feel like comics. And I think that's what we're getting with DC, and that's what I mean by it's being better or superior. You could argue one way or the other, but like in that respect, DC is better. Like period. Like in comic accuracy, adaptation, DC's leaps and bounds better. Each movie is about like say for example the Superman or the Supergirl movie. That's based on one comic. That's based on one comic story, one run. They're taking that one run basically and they're adapting it and making it a movie. The difference in what Marvel will do is they'll make one movie and they'll have stuff from 5 different universes and different comic runs and different storylines and everything just all crammed together in this new made up, world and stuff, and that's fine. You're making movies and you're pulling from all of Marvel's treasure chest, right? You've got everything Marvel's ever done in a box, and you want to make a movie, so you can just dip in that box and just pull all kinds of shit. Anything they've ever done, you could pull from it and put it in your movie. And like that's one way to do it. And I get the appeal there, and that's cool. And like at first that was fine. And as a baby comic movie fan, like that was fine to me. But as I'm growing and my palate's becoming more mature and more sophisticated, like I want some shit that's more accurate. Like I just want to see a little bit more. Like I want to be able to watch the movie and be like, yes, I know that story. Like it's just something, man, that I think is gonna help make a better story. It's gonna make a better movie. Comics are written well. That's why they're popular, and that's why these characters are beloved. And like not using those comic writers and those stories to make the movies is a huge mistake. It's a huge mistake because you end up with this hodgepodge made up screenplay that a script writer wrote.
Right.
And like, that's you're only gonna get, and like that's cool and all that, but the best movies are based on novels.
Yeah.
So why would it not be that the best comic movies are based on comics?
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, because look at Jurassic Park, based off the novel. Wasn't exactly like the novel, but it was good. It's
Yeah.
damn good.
Bro, if you Google movies based on books, you'll be blown away. There's so many movies you don't even know they were novels first. Like probably any movie that you think is great, I bet you that shit was a book already. Like 9 times out of 10, that's how it is. There's a few great movies that were movies, just movies,
Yeah,
sure,
like
but best ones were books
I can't
first.
what's the movie with Will Smith? that was based off a book. I think it was called Gemini Man or something like that.
Oh yeah,
That was
yeah,
a great
Gemini
movie.
Man.
Yeah. What was it? Will Smith. The movie Will Smith played in by himself with the zombies. Or Mega Man. I think it was either Mega Man or Gemini, something like that. That the
He
movie
did
he
a movie
played in.
called Gemini something. I think it
Gemini
was Gemini.
Man, but it
Yeah,
I
where he
think
was
it's
a
Omega.
clone.
That I don't know if that was I think that was based off a book too. But I know that
I don't know.
what's that movie he played in with the zombies?
Oh, World. I Am Legend.
Yeah, I Am Legend is based off a book called I think it's called Omega Man or something like that. And they say the book is
What's the
excellent. They say
name?
the book is excellent. I've never read it, but a lot of people that seen the movie like the movie and they said that the book is even better. Like they give the movie a lot of props for adapting a
So
lot
it's
of things
based.
from the
So
book.
it's actually based on a book called I Am Legend.
Yeah.
There is a book called The Omega Man. I Am Legend. It says right here, I Am Legend by Richard Madison. Blah, blah, blah. It says Omega Man. So yeah, that's what you're talking about right there. The Omega Man. I
Yeah, that's
think it's
based on
maybe it's
what?
another title for it. Maybe it's another title. Maybe it's like either I Am Legend or Omega Man, depending on the title. Like it could be either. You know, sometimes books they'll have two titles. It'll be such and such or such and such. That's actually a thing that novelists do. They'll give a book two title to be one or the other. So it may be one of those. I don't know. Because it's definitely here it is. I Am Legend, the novel. Let's see. I Am Legend 1954 post-apocalyptic horror novel by American writer Richard Matheson. Let's see. The novel was a success and was adapted into the films The Last Man on Earth in 1964, The Omega Man in 1971, and I Am Legend in 2007. It was also an inspiration for George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead. Holy shit. Didn't know that.
Didn't know it. Yeah,
Wow.
it blew my yeah.
You know that. So yeah, but the Omega Man, that was a movie based on it. Wow. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, yeah, but yeah, I mean, the point is the same.
Don't forget Forrest
If you
Gump
adapt
was another
something,
one
it
based
should be
off a
fucking
novel.
adapted.
Yeah,
Was it?
Forrest Gump was based off a novel. Yeah, Fight Club was based
Sure.
off a novel.
I think Forrest Gump
Bram
happened to be just a movie because I thought it was
Bram
based on the
Stoker's
book.
Dracula. Bram
Bram
Stoker's
Stoker was
Dracula.
definitely a book. Yeah, that was definitely a book.
Definitely a book. That's definitely a book.
Yeah, it was a book. I think Forrest Gump was a novel.
I think Forrest Gump was a novel.
Yeah, it was a novel.
Gone with
Let
the
me see.
Wind was based off a novel.
Yeah,
It's
Forrest
called
Gump was
Gone with the
based
Wind.
on. Yep, an adaptation of the 1986 novel by George was.
And
Yeah, I guess
and don't
the
forget
novel. Of course.
and don't forget, Reno, we forget, we tripping, we slipping now. Don't forget about
Oh, it's
everybody's favorite novel that was made into a movie, the Harry Potter series.
well, yeah. That's another. Here's yeah. I mean, like I said, you can just Google movies based on books, and it's crazy.
Mm.
Wizard of Oz,
Wizard of Oz is another one. Yup. Gone Girl was based off a book.
Gone Girl. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
All these regulars. These are obvious ones. On Color Purple.
Color Purple was based. Yeah, Color Purple was definitely based off a book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
Da
the
Vinci
Harry Potter
Code. That was another
series.
one. I actually read the book
Vinci
Da Vinci
Code,
Code. I forgot about that. Yeah, Da Vinci
Hidden
Code was based
Figures.
off a novel. Hidden
Hidden
Figures. Yep.
Figures is good.
Yeah.
Sounds of the Lambs. Sounds of the Lambs.
I forgot
Talented
about
Mr.
that. Yeah.
Ripley. Yeah,
I
Talented
forgot
Mr.
about
Ripley.
that too. Yeah. That was definitely
Fucking
based off a book.
It.
Yeah.
All the Stephen King. Stand by
All the
Me.
Stephen
All the
King, yeah,
Stephen
Stand
King.
by Me.
All the Stephen King.
We tripping. Yeah, all the
Bruh.
Stephen Kings, yeah, they're all based
Fucking
off a book. Yeah.
Princess Bride. That was peak.
Princess Bride was definitely
Yeah.
I never
What,
read the book, but I
Shawshank
know that.
Redemption.
Shawshank Redemption, I knew that was
That's
based off a
by
book.
Stephen King. Yeah, that's Stephen King.
That's Stephen King, yeah.
Yeah. Fucking Atonement. That was decent. Jurassic Park. You said
Oh, don't
Godfather
forget,
trilogy.
you
Godfather.
tripping
Fucking the
too.
Godfather, bro. The
Godfather.
Godfather.
Godfather was based off, you know what I'm tripping? Bridgerton, the show that
Oh,
everybody
Bridgerton.
loves.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was based off a book. Oh, the
Room.
Shogun series that we saw this year. That's
Yeah.
based off a book too.
Hell no,
I'm
Clueless. I
tripping.
ain't even know. I ain't know Clueless was a book. Ain't that some
Yes,
shit?
sir.
By Jane
Yes,
Austen.
sir.
Fucking Lord of the Rings, obviously.
Oh, you know
Crouching
what? You
Tiger,
know what
Hidden
else was
Dragon.
Crouching Tiger? I forgot that was a book. You know what else was based off a book too? I'm tripping. The Wizard of Oz.
Mm,
You said the Wizard of Oz, but guess what? I ain't
yeah.
looked at it. Wicked. Wicked was based off a book.
What is?
Wicked, the
What's
movie that
that?
just came out. The Wicked, the Disney movie that just came out about the life and times of the Wicked Witch of the West.
Oh, Wicked. Oh, nah, I ain't know that. I ain't know that.
Yeah, it was adapted. It was adapted to a Broadway play, and then they made a movie out of it. The Broadway play did so well, they made a movie out of
Mm. Yeah, here's a goddamn list of 100 movies that were made off books.
it.
Mm. The Irishman, fucking yeah, it's crazy. Manchurian Candidate, that was crazy.
Yeah, Manchurian Candidate was made off. I forgot about that.
Mm.
Yeah,
Bride of Frankenstein, Lord of the Rings. Let's see what else.
Lord of the
You said
Rings. Yeah, damn, we tripping.
Wonder-
Lord of the Rings.
Wonder-
Yeah,
Wonderful Life, fucking Beauty and the Beast. But it goes
Beauty
on
and the
and on.
Beast.
But I mean, it's crazy if you really look at 12 Years a Slave,
Oh yeah,
Apocalypse Now,
don't forget
fucking
about Doom. 12 Years a Slave was definitely a book. Don't forget
yeah,
Doom.
Lord of the
Doom was also.
Flies.
Lord of the Flies was really good. I didn't. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't really like the movie, but I loved the book.
Word?
Yeah, right. I didn't really.
Ah,
I couldn't. I think for me, I
Rashomon?
think I think I should have watched the movie first and
Mm,
then read the book, and it might have been I might have had a different experience. But
yeah.
after reading the book, watching the movie
Yeah, the
just didn't
movie,
do
yeah,
it
you're
for me.
like, "Man, this ain't it." Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't
But
do it for me.
that's a great see, that's my point. Case in point right there. You read these comics and I read these comics and I'm into these characters and then I see the movie and I'm like, but that ain't the character. Like that's not the movie. Like that's not the book or whatever. And it's just like when you saw Lord of the Flies and you're like, but that ain't the book.
Yeah, the book it had a lot. The book had a lot going on,
If you
and it did
saw
a
it
lot for
first,
me.
like you said, then reading the book, like seeing, like I saw the movie first and then I read the book, and so I have a better appreciation, like a much better appreciation. So if you're right. If you see the movie first, but that's when it's done. That's when it's done wrong. You know what I'm saying? If you do it right, the adaptation should be just as good. There's a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio that I saw that I was like, man, this is just as good as the book, just as fucking good.
The
What is that
Aviator.
shit? No, 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 no. This was something he was attacked by a grizzly bear. He was a fur trader back in the day.
Oh yeah, yeah. I haven't finished. That movie's long, bro. Oh, it's long, man. It was called oh, it's on the tip of
The
my tongue,
Revenant.
bro. The Revenant. Yes,
That
yes. The
shit
movie
is
was good.
hard. Fuck.
Yeah,
It's so good. In fact, I almost think it's better than the book.
really. You heard it was good.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, I
And
was.
and here you go. It's a book based on a true story.
The Revenant was good. I
Telling
ain't
y'all
finished
right
watching the
now,
whole thing.
bruh, if you ain't seen The Revenant, do yourself a favor and do that shit today. That shit is one of my favorite movies. It's phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Yeah, Revenant was good. Yeah, Revenant was good. I didn't
Phenomenal.
get. I ain't watched. Listen, I'm more than halfway through the movie. I gotta finish, and it was good. It was real
And this
good.
is true. The true story behind it is way crazier than the movie. Way crazier.
Really, I
It's
didn't even
way
know it was
more
based on a true story. I'm
it's
blown
so
away by
crazy
that.
that you wouldn't believe it. If they put that in the movie, you'd just be like, ah, this is just too unbelievable. Stupid. Like that's how crazy it was. So they had to like tone
Yeah,
it down. Yeah, I mean it's good. It was amazing, amazing, crazy ass, weird ass like shit that happened to this guy. But yeah, it's it's a really good adaptation of a book that proves because there's the old adage, oh, the book's always better. Not if it's a great artist, that's a great filmmaker with great actors, great writing, great fucking everything, bro. it can be better than the book.
Yeah. Like I like Lord of the Rings. I read the books, but I kind of like the movies better. I'm not gonna say that the book wasn't bad because it wasn't. I just like the movies. I like the visual. I think it's just the
I mean,
visual aspect of it, of bringing it to life, is what does it for me for Lord of the Rings, and I
mhm.
like that. I'm not, but the book was good, but the movies were excellent. They were
Yeah,
high
man.
quality. Yeah, I can't say nothing bad about them. I just didn't know the Revenant was based off a true story. I'm blown away by that. Bro. I'm
Yeah,
gonna have to figure. I'm gonna have to get that story and read it. I'm gonna have to figure. I'm gonna have to. I gotta,
I
because that
I
was a good. That was a good movie.
I read the book. I listened to the book, the audio book off Audible, and I saw the movie. How did it go? I think what happened was I saw the movie was coming out, or I saw the movie was out, or the movie I like didn't know the movie was coming. I like seen this trailer, and then I found out immediately that it was based on a book, and I was like, wait. And I wanted to, because I've always wanted to like read the book and then see the movie, and it never
Mm,
happens. Like I always see the movie first, and then I go to read the book. So I wanted to read the book first, and I think that's what I did. I real quick I got it on Audible, listened to the whole book, and then watched the movie. And yeah, movie was better.
get out.
Movie was better. Story's
Get
crazier
out.
in the book, but the movie was a better
Yeah, that was
experience
better.
because it was better. But I mean, if you do it, if you my point is that if you adapt a book or a comic, do it right, it's going to be so much better than just a hodgepodge thing, mashup, collage of all of Marvel's iterations of Thor in one movie. Like, no, like they build a character and it's like, oh, he does this, he does that, he does. Well, yeah, he did that in that run, but like he couldn't even do that in all the other iterations, and it's like stuff like that, and like I don't know. It's just weird. I guarantee you that the story that the Fantastic Four movie is not going to have nothing to do with the story that had Shalabal in it, and I guarantee you that you already know it's off because Shalabal is Norrin Rad's wife. Like that's his wife, and one time in one story, he talked Galactus into letting him bring Shalabal along as making her a Silver Surfer too. So they both went out together and could be Silver Surfers together. Like that happened once. So but I guarantee Marvel's just going to take the fact that there was a female Silver Surfer, pull her out of that whole comic story, and plop her in this movie. And it's just not.
Wow.
It can't be as good as adapting the real story. That would be like taking the Harry Potter novels and taking shit from the Goblet of Fire and putting it in the first movie. Like you, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you could imagine if they'd done that. Imagine if they'd made the Harry Potter novels and just mismatched shit from all the different books into it. Like it's ludicrous. You wouldn't even they would never do that. But they'll do it with comics. You don't respect the fucking medium. You don't respect comics, and you think it's fucking bullshit. Because if you respected it like a novel, you would never chop it up like that. Gunn respects comics. You see him in comic stores. I don't think I've ever seen Feige in a comic shop unless he was doing like a photo shoot. But like
Nah, you
that's just
don't.
to say whatever. Like Gunn's a real nerd. Like he's a real comic dude. Like he really cares about this shit. And you can tell Kathleen Kennedy does not care about Star Wars. Never in her life has she ever cared about that. So it shows greatly. That's why I submit that the DCU is going to outdo the MCU for my liking as a comic fan. Let me bust. Hold on, let me see what the chat's talking about. They going strong over here. What's going on? Shang-Chi's perfect example of that. Whole movie changed by the third act. Oh, with the not writing of the scripts, with making movies before the goddamn script is ready. It's a dumb question. Hell no. The DCU isn't even better than the DCEU. Oh no, can it be? So far not looking too good to speak my opinion. Well, I mean, you kind of can't say that, T.O., because the only DCU project we've ever seen is Creature Commandos episodes 1 and 2, and they're fucking phenomenal. And what they've got down the pipe is better than what we've seen so far. But hey, I'm a Marvel guy, and I hope I'm wrong. So when we're getting Justice League, movie, it's not on the menu yet. It's not in chapter 1. We had a Dark Side, and you're trying to sell me on Creature Commandos. It's yes, they're starting over. Forget everything DC did. Forget Dark Side. Forget listen. The first time I ever was a fan of a Superman movie was Man of Steel. I loved that shit. I loved the darker tone. Like, that's my shit. I was into that. I'm one of the ones that like that. And so, I'm with you on that. Like, I loved it. But the difference being the Zack Snyder verse didn't feel like a comic book. It was what it was, and it was cool for what it was. At this stage in my life, I don't know. Like, I just want to see some real comic adaptations. Like, I really want to see comics on screen.
I do too. I agree.
And
I
that's what
still want. Yeah.
that's the difference.
I mean, like, take the Ultimates, right? If Marvel was like, look, all right, we did that first 10-year run, that was dope. We did how we did it, and now we're gonna do the Ultimates timeline. We're gonna take that and adapt that to a screenplay and put it on the big screen. That would be huge because
Yeah.
the Ultimates timeline is actually super dope. Aliens versus Avengers, because it did that. That's dope. I mean,
Yeah.
Fox,
I mean, doing
Fox. I
any.
think Fox owns Aliens. I think the rights to Aliens or something like that, and Disney owns Fox, so could have got that off.
Mhm. And yeah, you're right. TC24 said, "Did we get a Dark Side? Really?"
No, we didn't. Nope. TC24, we didn't. I agree with you. We didn't get a Dark Side. I don't know what that was on screen on that last. I'm not even gonna say it, but no, we didn't get Dark Side. We just didn't get.
Like,
Nope. Sorry. We need.
poor iteration. A poor iteration. You can say Thanos before, but that's before Like, we did get Thanos. Like, we got a full on Thanos. I am very satisfied with Marvel's Thanos. I am not
Yeah, me too.
satisfied with
Yeah,
DC's Dark Side.
I
DC's
agree.
Dark Side was not Marvel's Thanos. Like, fuck no.
No, nowhere
Um,
near.
but let me see. It still doesn't change the fact that they were building up to a great threat. Don't care about other wacky group of misfits or movie or show. Building up to the great threat. And that's kind of that same formula, and that's that formula that they just continue to do over and over, and that's cool. But people are getting kind of tired of it. I'm kind of getting tired of it. Like, I'm kind of like ready to see some real comic book shit. Like, just something, I don't know, funner, but not goofy. Like, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I'm more of a fan of the darker side of stuff, but I would love to see color, like colorful shit, and just, but again, more comic related, more comic adapted stuff, like something that feels more like a comic book. And when you have Superman, for example, every previous Superman movie has always just been about Superman and whoever he's fighting. But you rarely have other characters. Justice League tried to kind of do it, and we kind of got a little sampling, but even Superman just kind of felt like an alien, which he was. And in the comics, like in the Superman comic, like, all kind of characters pop in and hang out, and he's cool. Like, it's all good. Like, there's all kinds of characters that come in and out of the Superman comics. So I would like to see a Superman movie that has other characters in it. I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that's going to suck. I think that's a great thing. I think that makes it more like a comic. And I don't think it takes away from it at all. In fact, it'll show more of a contrast of how Superman is versus these other characters. And there will be a big contrast. Superman will be a real, like, just a good guy, right? Like, just good to the core, and that's the Superman that all the fans of the character really want and shit. It's not my favorite, the Boy Scout, but people really want that Superman again. And I think, you know, um, Henry Cavill, for example, was a darker tone, a darker take on the character. But I think what Gunn's character is going to do is be more personable, be more relatable, be more interactive and social with other people and other characters. Not feel like such an alien. But overall, I think Gunn is the guy for this because he's a fan. He's a fan of the content. He's a fan of the material.
What
You
did George Lucas say?
can't stress how important that is.
Yep. And George Lucas said it best. You got to be a fan. You got to care about what you do.
You got to. He said once you got to be the co-head of DC and you realized what your 8 to 10 year arc was going to be, did these scripts change? Okay, we read this already. Is more of a connected universe that exists in play. We read that. All right. I think when people see the finale of Creature Commandos, the first thing they're going to say is, when can I get more? Which is what I said. What have you guys been discussing when it comes to season 2? Dean Laurie said, we've discussed and we'd love to do it. As you can see from the end of season 1, it's pretty clear the direction, or at least the people that we'd like to go forward with in season 2. So obviously, I think there's a lot of story to tell. Part of it is, will James ever have time to write it? Gunn chimed in, I will not. Laurie said, and will James pick it up? And obviously it does come down to how many people are actually watching it. Obviously, that's right. And Gunn said, exactly. That's exactly true. Also, we might decide that we want to do something different with Creature Commandos. We might want to go off and make the Creature Commandos movie. And again, they didn't want to risk a huge budget that it would take to make a Creature Commandos live action on another team of characters that no one knows about. It's still a risk, even though Gunn is the master of making movies about teams no one knows about, and they always are good and successful, and his track record speaks for itself. But this was even more risky, and it was smart to do this animated first. It was very smart. He said, we might want to do something different. I just don't know that I would love to have some of the same people involved, like Dean. I kicked the ball, but then Dean ran with it, kicking it around to Bobby Pills and Rick Morales and all the other people who were involved in the telling of the story. And it was a wonderful situation. I just haven't had many situations where I was able to write something, give it to some people, and then they brought back the beautiful work where I was like, oh shit, well, I think we can make it better here and there, but it's innately good. He said, that's not always the case. A lot of times as a screenwriter, people would bring me something that they had directed off of what I had written, and I'd go, I want to kill myself. He said, we had a great team. Which Creature Commandos will make the live action leap first? Both of you never really know how something is going to turn out. Which character or performance surprised you because it was better than you expected? Or he said, I've been consistently saying that G.I. Robot is my favorite character, but I have to say the performance by Sean Gunn also really surprised me because going into that, I didn't have a sense of what it was going to bring. He's going to do a lot more robo direction or what, and I was glad that he did that. He focused more on humanity, which I really liked. The other person who I really like, again, I didn't know who he's going to approach, was David Harbour for Frankenstein. So some people did like it. Which you say the character's name, you can imagine a certain thing, a sort of throwback to old movies, but he brought a very intelligent, precise, unexpected take on it that I loved and came as a surprise to me. I don't know that I'm down for like a super intelligent Frankenstein, but he definitely has potential, I will say. Gunn said there were so many for me. Yes, Harbour as Frankenstein, Grillo just being able to deliver the whole time, Zoe, who was fantastic in the show, and Indira, who's fantastic as the bride. Then also Michael Rooker as Sam. So he's just naming everybody. Episode 3, such a pathetic, sad guy, has so many different characters that Rooker is normally done. There is just some great performances on the show throughout. Laurie, Peter as Dr. Frankenstein. Oh yeah, Peter Serafinkowitz as Frankenstein is great. Alan Tudyk as Will Magnus Dr. Phosphorus. His performance is based on Mike Nichols, who we did play with one time, and there is just so many fun things in there. There's no weak link in terms of any performances, but I think that one is going to really resonate is because it's really resonated with me as David Harbour's Frankenstein. That's really what everyone's saying. They love David Harbour's Frankenstein. I don't know that I had a favorite character. Maybe even the Bride or Rick Flag maybe for me, but just a really cool show. This is really long. I don't want to just sit here and read this whole thing, but you guys can check it out. It's on collider.com. James Gunn, Creature Commandos, DCU timeline. And all in all, though, it's a dope show. DCU, the DCU's TV plans have a pretty big difference compared to the Marvel shows. Already DC's plans, DC shows rather, HBO shows, like come on, Penguin, like these other shows that are being made by Max and HBO, just top tier quality. Disney Plus shows sadly have been on the poorer quality scale, I would say. But hopefully we'll get more of this top. I mean, they're not going to stop. It ain't broke, and they've got the link. I mean, DC, they're in there, and they're really doing good with HBO. So they're probably going to stick around. DC Studios will truly, being its big rollout on the small screen with Creature Commandos, and then of course the big rollout with Superman. But the TV stuff, the plan that they have for that, we're already seeing, some key differences in the DC studio strategy compared to the Marvel Studios and the Marvel TV. And one of those differences was highlighted, I think, by the CEO and president of global streaming Warner Brothers Discovery, JB Perrette, who spoke about HBO and Max's plans for DC and the volume of content that will hit the service on a yearly basis. Studo, you gotta bounce.
Yeah, I gotta be to work a little early tonight. But keep going. We're doing good. We're doing good. We're doing good.
All right. Yeah, no, but regarding like the overall plan, he said we're releasing Creature Commandos, an animated series which kicks off James Gunn's the new DCU. We have Peacemaker. We're working on DC Lanterns, but we're thinking maybe to do 2 DC series a year is probably plenty. You don't need 4 and you don't need 5. That's a big difference right there. 2 series a year, that's quite a bit different than Marvel's output recently. That will.
That's a low blow to Marvel. That's them saying, you did 4, 5, whatever you did, and they weren't good. We put out
Right.
2 good ones a year. We're ahead of the game.
Oh, bro, check this out before you go. I forgot. I've been wanting to show you this, and I keep forgetting. I know you wanted to see it. Hold on.
Oh yeah, the lights. Yeah. You might as well turn out all the lights in there so we can see it lit up.
See, and that's in the
Yo,
cockpit.
that is hard. Yo, that's hard. I'll take my hat off the Hasbro on that. Both cockpit. Look, the front and the back. That's hard, bro. I'm impressed. Yeah, I'm impressed. Oh shoot, and it's got a spot. Yo, it's got regular lights too. Yeah, I'm impressed, bro. I'm impressed. Yeah, they got me. They got me on that one.
You got all kind of lights underneath and shit. And you got the underneath the spotlight underneath. They go super bright
Yeah,
underneath, and obviously the cockpit, fucking headlights and shit.
yeah, that is dope. Yeah, that is dope. I like that, man. I didn't think it was that detailed, bro.
Right. Me neither. Yeah, I didn't either, dog. I had no idea it was gonna be that crazy.
I'm blown. Now I'm definitely blown away by that.
Appreciate you. Um, yeah, dog. That shit is well worth it. I can't wait for the next one. I think they're doing the Mobat. That's the word. That's the rumor. Which the Mobat was a motorized tank that was a GI Joe tank. It was like
I remember
earlier.
them. Yeah,
Yeah, it was like one of
because they had the
the
Mauler.
earlier
They had
ones.
the
Yeah,
Mauler. The Mauler was, I think, the Mauler was the first one we had, and then the Mobat was after that.
I don't know. I think it's yeah, and then so the Mobat was like green. I think the Mauler was like tan.
Tan, I think. Yeah, I think you're right. I don't remember. No, no. I think the Mauler. I think the Mauler was green. Or was
Let's
it? It
see.
might have been. I don't know. It might have been green because I had one. I had a Mauler. I think it was green.
What's that tan one?
The tan one was the later tank.
Here,
Because they put out two GI Joe tanks.
that's the Mobat. It's the old. It's like one of the first tanks they did.
Yeah, there's
Steeler,
a
one of the
green one. There's a green.
OG. It's like the original
I
13 was
think.
the Mobat. See,
Okay.
that's old school. This is like
Yeah, that's the old
1983
school. Yeah, yeah. That's the one where you, if they see the
Steeler.
top part right there, where the guy's in the gunner, you push it forward,
Uh-huh.
and the tank went forward. You pushed it back, and it went back. That's what they call it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I had. I had that one right there.
With super climbing ability.
Yep, I had that one right there.
So that's what they're talking. Yeah, I mean, like I'm not. I'm not excited about it. Like I don't care about the fucking Mobat. I
What
don't
was the
want
gray
that.
one? The gray one. What was the other one? The gray one was the Mauler? Oh no,
Mahler was the 10 one. See,
the tan was the Mauler. Okay,
it had the that one dude. What was it?
that's right. You're right. The
The
tan. Damn,
Russian
yeah. Now that
dude.
I'm thinking about it, yeah, the Mauler was the gray one. You're right. Yeah.
Oh man, here.
Yes, because Steeler came with the Mobat. That's the one I had. I got that one for Christmas one year. I was a kid back in the 80s.
Am I spelling it wrong? Oh yeah. There you go. Yeah. And that shit was like motorized too.
Yeah, the Mauler was motorized. Yeah.
I'd rather see the Mauler than the Mobat, dog. That would be
Damn,
a
bro.
better Hasbro.
$395, bro. That's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was in working condition. Damn.
And this came out in '85. Tank
Yeah,
with the driver in the box. Yeah, that was old school.
that's real old school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the
But I
gray
mean,
one.
they
I
got
got the
cheaper
gray
ones.
one.
Here's one for 400, 100%
That's
complete.
cheap. Damn. Man, he got the driver and everything. His gun. He got damn. And it looks good too.
I mean, it's clean. That's the thing. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
that's the
real
thing.
clean.
That's
Yeah,
why it's clean.
it's real clean.
But they got cheap $100 ones, 150, 160. Here's 170.
Damn.
You
I
got
wonder
the
if Raw
little.
Talk got one of these joints. I wonder if Raw Talk got one.
Oh yeah, Raw Talk got one. He definitely
Yeah,
got one.
he might got two of them joints. Raw Talk
He
might
probably
got
got two of them shits.
two. Yeah, that bring back
Yeah,
memories, man. Good ones too.
yeah. So that's what they had: the motorized Mobat and the Mauler, which I think
Yeah, I
it
had
was
that.
MBT motorized battle tank. So they were both motorized. I swear they did a
Yeah,
goddamn.
now they were both motorized. Remember the commercial? They used to
Yeah.
show them, the kids were playing with it in the backyard because the hiss wasn't motorized. You had to push that junk. That's
Right.
just how
Yeah.
I went down. Yeah, you had to push. Yeah, you had to push that. But the Mobat and the Mauler, yeah, they were motorized.
Remember the amphibious personnel carrier?
Yep.
I used to love that shit.
I used to want one. Never got one, but I wanted one though.
Yeah, put a bunch of guys in there. Oh, they had a motorized Crimson attack tank. I never had that. That's dope. That's like a uh, Cobra version of the Mobat.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah, because the hiss, they should just motorize the hiss. They never did it, man. I think maybe because of the shape of it and all that.
Yeah, yeah, that's a Cobra Mobat. Oh man, but yeah, man. The if you're comparing the DC versus the Marvel TV shows recently, definitely have a different sort of strategy that they're using. They're not just trying to cram a whole bunch of shows. They're making good quality stuff, right? They're more concerned with it being quality and well written than they are about churning things out or getting things out by certain dates or having X amount of things or whatever. And that's gonna show. It's gonna show in the quality. But after Creature Commandos, you've got Lanterns, which is a totally different kind of show. Again, everything is going to be very different from each other. This show is going to be about two Green Lanterns, Hal Jordan, an older, more mature mentor Green Lantern, and then John Stewart, a younger, the new Green Lantern, and they're going to be fighting. Well, they're going to be not fighting crime per se. They're going to be doing like how the show True Detective has like two detectives that are investigating something that is seemingly supernatural, seemingly otherworldly, but turns out to be something explainable by science or whatever. That's kind of been the running theme of all of the True Detective shows, and this Lantern show is supposed to be like True Detective in a lot of ways. That's how they're comparing it. So
Mm.
throw in the Green Lanterns and their powers and all that shit, and then whatever entity from whatever place and
Whatever
wherever there's now,
cosmos it comes from, yeah.
right, you get something
But
crazy,
that's what Green Lantern. They're space cops. Let's just keep it
right?
a buck.
Yeah.
Like to put them on Earth. When you did the movie Ryan Reynolds, you trapped them on Earth. There was not really space copy about it, and it sucked.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it was
like
that.
you
It
said
was.
earlier, yeah, like you said earlier, why has it got to be based on Earth? It should have been on OA. They should have had a mystery. You could even had a murder mystery on OA that you had to figure out, and
Well,
did it.
the fact that they're doing it on Earth doesn't bother me. It just as long as they do it, you know, I think it should start off like on Oa, or it should start out in some, in outer space or some, event that they're doing, and then they end up coming back to Earth because they have to. They've been called, to go to Earth because of this entity that is fucking shit up there, and so they have to go to Earth and police it because while they are
Listen,
space cops, they're cops of this sector, and so they are cops of Earth. I mean, that's why the Green Lantern is
right.
on Earth all the time doing shit. That's
Well, he's
where
in
he
the whole
fucks
sector,
around
and there,
on Earth.
which
Yeah,
which proves that there's life on other planets. There's
yeah,
other things that he has to take care of, and and other regions of his sector. So it's like a cop
hmm,
having a beat.
right,
Cops got different sectors that they patrol. That's just what it is.
right. And then if you compare this, two shows a year to the 2025 slate for Marvel that they've got planned, which includes Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Daredevil Born Again, Ironheart, Eyes of Wakanda, Marvel Zombies, and Wonder Man. That's 6 shows in 2025 alone.
And don't
You
forget,
think they're
what's her name? What's her name got a show now? Akoe. I don't know how to say her name. One of the Doja Malaje, the lead Doja Malaje girl. She has a show
uh
coming out.
uh
She has a
yeah,
show.
Eyes
So
of
that's what
Wakanda.
seven. Is
No,
that what
that's
it's gonna
that's
be
Eyes
called?
of Wakanda. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I
And
mean,
that's a lot of shows for 1 year, dog. And so you can't tell me that they're all gonna be good because they haven't all been good yet.
no, they haven't been, and they won't be.
And honestly, bro, like a lot of those shows don't nobody want to see. Like nobody's asking for that. People want to see Daredevil.
Exactly. We've been wanting more Daredevil. We wanted more Luke Cage, and we wanted more Jessica Jones. We were gonna
Give
get
us
it had Disney not
Daredevil.
came out with Disney Plus.
Yeah, I mean, I think you gave us Daredevil and like Wonder Man. That's it. You gave us them two shows. We're good. Or Daredevil and Marvel Zombies for the year. That's
We're
it. You
good
can
for the
keep
year. We're good.
Ironheart and
Or
Eyes of
or
Wakanda
yeah,
and all
or
the
give us Daredevil, right? Uh,
neighborhood
give us
Spider-Man. That's the
Daredevil,
animated joint.
Neighborhood Spider-Man, animated joint, and give us one more live show. You can give us
Yeah,
3 shows a year.
Wonder
One at
Man.
least make one animated. Wonder Man. Yeah, you could throw
That could be
Wonder
good.
Man and Daredevil. Wonder
Yeah, and
Man,
Wonder Man
Daredevil.
looks like decent quality production.
It does. It really
It
does.
does. I don't
I haven't
know for
seen it
the
yet, but it
story.
does.
I don't know for the story how that's going to be, and the idea that they're doing again, just saying "fuck you" to the comic and making a whole new deal where the character is just nothing like he is in the comic. The
Cause
race
you're gonna
swapping, the race swapping's fine. Like making Wonder Man black is not a problem. There's nothing inherently about Wonder Man that he has to be a Caucasian man. That's fine. Like,
you're right.
but changing his character so totally is just like that sucks. Like, what about fans of Wonder Man? They don't get their character.
They don't get their character, yeah. And also as well too, when you go that route and you don't want to stick to the source material, you're gonna have a failure like you did with Iron Fist. The
Hmm.
director literally, totally, and unequivocally refused to put him in the suit. He didn't want to follow the narrative of Iron Fist, and it failed.
Nope. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
came out and publicly said, "I'm never gonna put him in the suit."
Yeah. I mean,
We're like,
but
damn,
fans
like
are
wow.
fans are really excited for Lanterns though. I definitely am. That's the one of the ones I'm most anticipating because I'm a big fan of True Detective, and I think that you know that's the perfect kind of it's keeping it like cinematic. It's making it feel like it's real, like real production, like they really cared about it, like Penguin, which was a really well made show, like on a well, on a real, on HBO, really, and stuff like that. So like it feels like that. It feels like it's going to be like that. And especially now we've seen some of the cast, which includes Aaron Pierre as John Stewart, and there's the Hal Jordan dude, who's a great casting. I forget his name at the moment. But after news of casting the John Stewart dude, uh, addressing that, being part of the new DC movie universe, he said he's tremendously honored and abundantly grateful. A dream come true. He said, "Thank you for all the love and beautiful energy. Thank you for welcoming me to DC. Let's work." Chris Mundy, who wrote the Ozark show on Netflix and the True Detective show, Night Country, I think it's like season 5 or something like that, is going to be the showrunner for Lanterns. Chris Mundy is co-writing the series with Damon Lindelof, who did the Watchmen show and The Leftovers, which were both deep ass shows. And then Tom King, who is one of the best comic writers, who did like one of the best Batman runs and like is just a phenomenal comic writer, is going to be writing and also worked on Wonder Woman, is going to be writing a bunch of shit in here, and is writing Lanterns with them. And then in addition, you got to Pierre, Kyle Chandler is his name, playing Hal Jordan. Kelly McDonald, who was dope in what you call it, Empire, the old gangster show. She's the Irish lady, and she was just in something else. She's great. She's great. Garrett Dillahunt, who's fucking great. That dude's crazy. That dude's Garrett Dillahunt. Look that name. You might not know him by his name, but you know who he is when you see him. Is playing William Macon, and then an Indian woman who I don't know named Purna Jaganathan playing Jaganathan. I'm sorry, Jaganathan. I'm probably saying it wrong. Begun-ith is playing Zoe. But whether you're a fan of DC or Marvel, you have a lot to look forward to in the future in the realm of television over the next year. Whether you want the quantity of Marvel or the quality of DC, you're gonna get what you want. You're gonna get both, and the projects also couldn't be more varied, very different, very nice variety there. Projects like Lanterns and Daredevil Born Again on the ground, more gritty, more like what do you call it? Street level. But yo, Stu, before you go, just let me know. Just let me know you got to bounce.
Yeah, I gotta bounce. I gotta bounce now. Yes,
Yeah,
8:35. I definitely
yeah,
gotta get off.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely gotta get off there.
All right. And yeah, Pedro, I do. That's what I mean. They're modeling it off of HBO series. Definitely Game of Thrones. The Amazon series off Game of Thrones. Penguin was off Sopranos. Lanterns off True Detective.
Yeah. But it
Great,
worked.
great.
Like Pedro, it worked. Like we get what you're
Those are
saying, but it
great
worked.
things to
Those are
aspire
great
to.
shows, right? And they're
Right.
templates. They're not. They're more like templates for that
They're not
show than
copying them.
anything else. They're not
Yeah.
copying, but it's just a template to that show. So they took that template and made Penguin. They
It's
took
like
that
the
template and
genre of
made
it.
any other. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. It's
But
just
and
the
it worked.
genre.
And as long as you follow the template, you
Yeah.
should have a good show.
Yeah.
And that's what
Like
they did.
Penguin was nothing like Sopranos at all. It's just the gangster genre. That's how it's
Right.
like Sopranos. The
Yeah.
Lanterns is not gonna be anything like True Detective, but it's that detective genre.
The genre.
Um, right.
Yeah.
The Amazon show, I doubt, is gonna have anything to do with Game of Thrones or be anything like it, but it's just gonna be that genre of fantasy, medieval fantasy, that kind of genre, and also that kind of quality, man. That's the whole thing. You just named three of the best quality shows ever made, and they're made by HBO and the same people that are making these DC movies, like these DC shows. I wish this was Marvel. I wish Marvel was on HBO doing the HBO quality shows, but they're on fucking Disney doing goddamn Disney shows that might as well be on the CW. I'm gonna keep it a buck.
Damn, that's
Budget
rough.
wise, they might as well be on the fucking CW with the budget that they're giving to these shows. It's horrendous. Like, they deserve better, man. And I'm just saying this as a fan of Marvel.
Yeah, they do. They do. But we know I gotta jump off.
All right, brother.
I'll catch y'all Wednesday.
Yeah, man.
Creature Commandos. By the time Wednesday, I'm probably gonna watch everything related to Creature Commandos. But I've always thought Creature Commandos is dope. I
Me
just
too.
I just want to see it this I just want to see this iteration of it on my TV
Hmm.
screen. So,
Right.
hopefully
Right.
they bring them out on DVD so I can add to my collection. But with that, I gotta go. And I'll
Yeah,
catch
no, we're
y'all
gonna
later.
wrap it up, man, and I'm gonna answer this question for Pedro real quick, and then I'm gonna bounce my damn self. But yeah, Stu, man, be safe, and we'll
Why
see you.
couldn't they continue Superman and Lois on HBO?
Yeah. Well, they stopped it, and everyone is mad that they stopped it because they're like, why'd you stop it just for the DCU? And people are like mad at the DCU over it, and because they're claiming like we don't want to have two Supermans, but there's a there's a reason, um, and they kind of address it in something I'm gonna show you here, but like for example, let me see here. If Superman and Lois had been able to run for 7 seasons, two major villains from the comics would have been introduced. The showrunners Todd Helbing and Brent Fletcher recently revealed that the Man of Steel would have faced off against Brainiac and Darkseid had this show been able to continue beyond its 4th season. That's where they were planning to go. A lot of people are pissed. A lot of people are like, fuck. Speaking with TV Line, Helbing shared that while the final season of Superman and Lois included some version of everything they wanted to explore, they were unable to really introduce those two villains, Brainiac and Darkseid, that they wanted to. He said if we went on for a couple more seasons, we would have really explored Brainiac. We would have done more cool traditional Brainiac stuff with him. Instead, Brainiac was only teased in the final season through LexCorp employee Milton Fine, a character who was possessed by the supervillain in the comics. But he also shared that they had discussed a way to lead up to Darkseid. He said the supervillain would is largely remembered for being the big bad of Zack Snyder's Justice League. He said, so I don't know if DC would have given us permission to use Darkseid, but we would have pitched the hell out of it to try to get it, and that would have been a lot of fun, he said. So these are just things they wanted to do. It's not like it was all set in stone, gonna happen. You're not definitely missing out on Darkseid. Like he said, they possibly wouldn't have given him Darkseid to use for that show. But that's the thing. That's basically what it is. It's like you can't use Superman right now because we're using Superman, and he's a one guy in the universe kind of character. One version. But with Superman and Lois having concluded, the animated My Adventures with Superman is now the only Man of Steel focused series left on the air, with the third season currently in production. And it's unlikely that a new live action Superman series is going to be put into development, because DC has plans for Superman to return to movies, and not just one movie. He's gonna be like in a bunch of movies. And so David Cornsweet has been cast to play him in all the different movies and shows, beginning in 2025 with the movie called Superman by James Gunn. Is going to be the first live action project for the DCU as well, followed by the spin-off standalone Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow in 2026. But in an interview with Screen Rant, Wole Parks, who plays John Henry Irons, aka Steel, in the Superman and Lois joint, was asked about the reports that the show had to come to an end due to Warner Bros. Discovery not wanting competing Superman products in the marketplace, and as the new Superman movies, is on its way. And so Parks, who has been part of Superman and Lois since the beginning, explained his perspective on the situation. He said, that's a great question. I'm going to tell you as much as I know, and it's all rumors of speculation. Do I believe it? Sure, of course, why not? Would DC want a clean slate? James Gunn has a very big Superman project coming out, and it seems like everything right now is a universe. You look at HBO, and I just watched The Penguin, which was amazing, and the show is based on Matt Reeves' The Batman universe, and then the Batman 2, whenever that comes out. So it seems very much they're like, we want these worlds, and they were like, look, we're kind of maybe tired of the CW version of it, regardless of the quality of the show. These decisions are well above my pay grade. I have no control over it. Like I said, did it suck? We would have to go like at least another season or two more, of course, but you live with what you get. It's a very poignant, way to put it there. I'm not really a fan of TV, like network stuff, no CW shows. I don't like any of those shows. I just don't. I try to think of like a really good reason for people who love them, but I just don't like them. I just think they're cheap. I just think they feel like low budget. They just feel like B stuff, and I feel it feels just, I don't know. It's not for me. Not for me. That's how I'll leave it. It's not for me. I prefer the cinematic versions. I like the better quality stuff. I mean, ever since Sopranos came out, and HBO kind of changed the way TV shows were made and made them more cinematic and put more production quality in and put more budget behind them, and better writers and better actors and just better all around. Basically, 15-hour movies that are chopped up into 15 episodes, which I'm a cinema guy. I'm a movie buff. I've always been a movie buff. I actually started watching more shows than movies now because movies have just gone down in quality and shows have gone way up in quality. Premium shows on premium services like HBO or premium streaming services, Paramount Plus, and things like that. I really do watch nothing but shows, but I don't watch any network TV shows. So like I'm not really mad that show is going away, the Superman and Lois show, or any show on CW. But do I think it's necessary? Like, no, I don't. Like, I don't see why you can't just have the Superman and Lois show. It's not like anyone's gonna mistake them. Like, they're two different, completely different things. And you're already admitting you're already gonna have a Batman universe, and then you're going to have a Batman in the in the DCU. There's a Batman movie coming that's going to be a Batman and Robin movie, Batman and Damian Wayne, and it's going to be like gray and blue suit Batman, like real comic book Batman, nothing like the Matt Reeves the Batman. It's going to be a completely separate universe, totally unrelated, and feel like a completely different Batman, which I think is why it's able to exist. You know, Robert Pattinson, dark, black suit, detective, you know, noir, you know, that's very different from bright blue and gray, maybe even campy, maybe a little bit, but definitely bright colors, you know, comic version. He's got Damian Wayne with him. It's a whole different version that would not be mistake. You know, no one's going to make a mistake. No one's going to think that they're related or that they're the same. If you're trying to compete with a TV show Superman, where they both have the exact same color outfit, they both have the same, you know, basic look. I mean, Superman just looks the same no matter what iteration. So it's a little harder because a lot of people, they make that comparison. Well, we're doing it with Batman. It's a little different. It's a little harder to have Superman look and be completely different from another Superman, whereas Batman, we have never had a live action gray and blue suited Batman since that TV show in the 60s. Like, ever since Tim Burton put him in a black suit, every live action iteration has been that. And it's cool because it's more realistic. Obviously, you're not going to stalk the night in bright blue and gray, but like, I'm just at maybe it's the age I'm at. I don't know. Like, I'm all about nostalgia right now. Like, I'm all about icons and like I just want to see iconic stuff I know, like just nostalgia bombs. It's probably my age, I don't know. But that's just what I want. And so I'm looking forward to this. As far as Superman and Lois, I tried to watch it because like everyone's telling me like watch it. I'm like, I don't really like TV shows. Like, I don't really watch any CW shows. I couldn't get into Flash. Like, I wanted to. Can't get into them. And they're like, no, watch it. So people that I really trust, they were like, no, like, even though if you don't, like, this is really good. So I took their word for it and I tried to watch it. I think I got distracted or had to do something else. For whatever reason, I didn't continue the show at all. Still haven't watched it. From what I did see of it, though, I can attest that it is definitely a step up from other CW shows. It definitely is. But again, like, I don't, the sons, like, he's got these two like grown sons, and it's like kind of about them. And it's just like, it's like this grown, it's like a whole different, like, I just want that iconic, you know, just Superman like thing. Like, so I don't know. It's just, but I'm not gonna knock the show because I know it's a really good show. I can't say I care that they're canceling it or anything. That's just me, but I know it's devastating to a lot of people. And I don't agree with it. Like, I don't, even though it's not for me and it's not a show that I watch, I don't see any reason why they really have to cancel it just because of this other Superman that's coming. Devil's advocate, I'm only thinking maybe it's because it's Superman and you can't really make a very different looking Superman. And most people are idiots and they, you know, they'll get confused. Who knows? But anyway, I just wanted to answer that, man, and break that down for what I knew about it. But that's kind of it, guys. I mean, there's a lot more we're going to talk about this DC stuff. We're definitely going to be back on this same topic next Saturday. But guys, every Saturday and every Wednesday at 7 p.m. We're here live, so come back and check us out. If you're new to the channel, we really thank you and appreciate you. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the show. Leave a comment in the comment section. All that good stuff is very helpful to the channel. But we'll see you guys, like I said, back here every Wednesday and every Saturday, 7 p.m. Thank you for coming, man. It's great to see you guys. And thank you, everybody who did come and chop it up with us today. And be safe. Have a good rest of your weekend. We'll see you Wednesday. Peace.